Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Vrburai, and welcome to the Dewott Dragoons Season 14 Draft Review for the APDL Emerald League. Let's get right into it. Starting off, we have 11 Pokemon that we chose for this draft league. Now, you only see 6, but that's because the beautiful trainer cards that I made at pokecharms.com can only have up to 6 per. So, I just made 2 of them. Simple as that. And I don't know if I have to shout them out or anything, but I really adore their designs that they made. And made it so you can just make them online. So I'm going to, because I think they deserve the love. But with this draft, we were able to draft 1 Tier 1 Pokemon, 2 Tier 2s, 3 Tier 3s, and 3 Tier 4s, and then 2 Tier 5 Pokemon additionally. And the tiers were divvied up by Coach Arc. And it's a pretty mid-tier draft, I believe. I don't think it's anything crazy. But with that being said, let's start talking about the Pokemon I chose. Starting with our Tier 1, we have our boy Vrburai. I just look at him, man. Every time I see him, he's so cool. I love his design so much. And then moving on to our Tier 2s, we have our boy Swampert and our fair lady Shaman. Both just awesome mons, and makes a beautiful core of fire, water, grass, plus ghost and ground. I don't think those are not part of any core. I just, additional typings, why not? But then our 3 Tier 3s being Kilowattrel, Palmont, and Galarian Articuno, all great additions as well. And ending off with our Tier 4s and 5s, with our Tier 4s being Hitmontop, Duraludon, and Umbreon, all just beautiful Pokemon. I love them so much. And then our 2 Tier 5s also are Terra captains for this league. And it's open Terra, so it's going to be pretty fun manipulating what these guys can do. But those two being Sableye and Pyroar. Now, let's get into the details, shall we? Starting off with our boy Vrburai. I just love this Pokemon. I just need to get that out of the way. This guy is just awesome. First, just look at his design. He has swords for hands, dog. It doesn't get much cooler than swords for hands, And he's got the anime eye thing going on, the flame. He's just so cool. And his typing Fire Ghost is actually really fun. And if you combine it with the Flash Fire ability, it gives him 3 immunities, which is really sick and really cool. Mind you, I prefer weak armor for a very simple reason. Well, look at his base stats, right? Attack is through the roof. Special defense, pretty good. I'm not going to use him for a tanky mon, but hey, having it, not going to complain. But with 85 base speed, he's not super fast, but with weak armor, if I get hit by a physical attack, all of a sudden my speed gets doubled. And if I SD Swords Dance right in their face, ooh, that's scary to deal with. That's going to be a lot of damage. Combine that with a Focus Sash. Make sure I survive that close combat. Well, not close combat, but maybe headlong rush that they throw at me. Ooh, that's going to hurt. And oh no, I'm at 1 HP. But our boy Vrburai got Bitter Blade in the back pocket. Fire type move that heals for 50% of the damage you deal. Ooh, yes please. He's going to be a tanky mon. And I already have this mon in my homie Josuke's Butts League. And I've already had some pretty good success with him in that league. So I wanted to grab him here because he's my favorite new gen Pokemon. I forget what gen we're on. I was going to say 6, but that's so wrong. I know it's not gen. It's gen 9, I believe. But it's my favorite Pokemon from this generation. He just looks so cool, man. How do you go wrong with this? How? I don't think you can, as a matter of fact. But moving on. To our Tier 2, we have our boy, Swampert. Now, this guy holds a little bit of a special place in my heart. Not because of Swampert, but because of Mudkip. Because Mudkip's the GOAT. Like, he is one of the GOATs of Pokemon. I just love the guy. You know, he's such a silly little dude. But the main reason I picked up Swampert wasn't because he's an icon to many, but instead because of his typing. Water Ground gives me the water type I need for the Fire Water Grass core that I started building with Ceruledge, but also gives me a ground type because I want a strong ground type because I want to click the funny Earthquake move. And he allows me to do just that, is click the funny Earthquake move. But if you look at his stats, he is a tanky boy. 90 defense, 90 special defense, 100 HP. He's surviving a hit. He might survive 2 hits. He might survive a grass attack that he's ×4 weak to. Okay, maybe not that much. But he's tanky. No Chansey or anything, but still, really nice. And with an ability like Damp, where I can't be kamikaze, I appreciate that. Because I've already been kamikaze before in a different league, and I didn't appreciate it. So having Damp is nice. Mind you, I didn't choose him for Damp, but hey, I won't complain. But with the attack stat, I mean, he can tank damage, and he can dish it out in equal amounts. And with his typing, it's just so tanky. 4 common attack types. Well, 2 common attack types. The other 2 are pretty common. Completely immune to electric. Like, yeah, we're gonna cook with him. We're cooking. But moving on to someone who we probably shouldn't cook with because they're made out of grass is our girl, Shaman. And Shaman's adorable. It's awesome. But look at that stat spread. Just hundreds across the board. It can fit any role I want it to be in. And that's awesome. I love that. And with a move, the signature move, I believe it's Seed Flare. That's gonna put in some work. That's like a base 100 some move that's a grass type. This is scary. It's scary to look at. And I cannot wait to cook with Shaman. Like, I can make it do whatever I need for a team, and I guarantee it's gonna do every job well. It has really good supporting moves. It has really good offensive moves. Like, yeah, it was a must-have pick. I needed a grass type, and I wanted my main core, Fire, Water, Grass, to be a strong Pokemon. Hence why I chose to use all 3 of my T1s and T2s on them. With only 1 tier 1 and then only 2 tier 2s, I chose to use all 3 on my main core because if I can get strong foundations, then boom, we're cooking. We're cooking with gas. But moving on to our boy, Kilowattrel. Now, this Pokemon I chose for a pretty specific reason. One, I like him a lot. He's really cool. But more importantly than him being cool, he's really fast. Like, super fast. And I was looking in our draft for our speed tiers, and he is like the 2nd fastest Pokemon in the entire draft. And as a tier 3, which I could pick up, I knew I had to pick him up. Now, Regieleki is faster than him, right? However, Kilowattrel's got Volt Absorb. So that threat of Regieleki is not a threat to him. And I think that's really fun. And plus, having a ground immunity, my teams in my other leagues, I am always so weak to ground. So I just want ground immunities. I want grass or ground resistances. Like, I'm so sick of being scared of Earthquake. So having a mon that is resistant to ground is really nice. But with the speed of Kilowattrel, I can just throw a Choice Scarf on them, max out that speed. He's going to be faster than everything because I know that based off his speed tier. I can just slap Volt Switch out on him, and boom, I get free damage. I get a free swap. I keep that momentum in my favor. It's really nice. I'm cooking up so many ideas just thinking about it. And he also gets U-turn. So if I think they're going to be bringing ground types, I can sacrifice some of the damage, but guarantee my momentum. And I think that would be really fun. And I'm definitely going to be trying it. And I might bring both one time. We'll have to see. I doubt I'll bring both ever, but you never know. But Kilowattrel, definitely a strong pick for my team. And I'm going to cook with them. Now, this next pick might be a little controversial to some, because I just showed you Kilowattrel. And Podmot is like the same thing, but slower and physical instead. But that's what I like about him. You see, he gets to keep Volt Absorb, which allows me to have that electric defying Pokemon in my repertoire. But also, he's fighting instead of flying. Where fighting is just, it's such a good offensive type, with close combat just being correct beyond belief. Like, I can just throw a Choice Scarf on this guy and just close combat, because like he's like, I think it's the 3rd or 4th highest speed tier, so he's not outspeed by much. Now, he's not like Kilowattrel, who outspeeds everything, but he's still gonna outspeed a lot, and I think Palma can do some work. Now, this pick was slightly, and by slightly I mean a lot, influenced by Coach Arc, as I've been seeing his content, and he's been hyping up this guy, and no one was picking him. And I'm like, well, I want to cook with him. I've been hearing a lot of good things, and lots of good things from Coach Arc about this Pokemon, and I'm like, let me cook with him. Let me see what I can do. So I had to pick him up. But moving on to Galarian Articuno. Now, this Pokemon is a little bit of a weird pick for me, because one, the stat line is crazy good. I love it. Good health, good special defense, good speed, good, like super good special attack. Throw like an assault vest on this guy if I want to be pure physical, and oh, he's not taken. He's a special defensive, special offensive threat. But he does have a lot of weaknesses. And I can't recall off the top of my head what his really good moves are. But what I do know is he's a Psychic and Flying type, which means, well, Psychic, the most interesting name move for the Psychic typing. It's going to put in work, as well as like Hurricane, if I want to throw those out. Just stab bonus on both of them. He's going to be a threat. Mind you, a easier threat to deal with than some. But with the ground immunity, I'm able to, once again, capitalize on not being scared of Earthquake. But also with ×4 resist to fighting, if I think someone's just going to say screw it and close if I think someone is going to say screw it and just click close combat, boom, it does nothing. Like, even with only 85 base defense, ×4 resist, man, like, will not care. So overall, I wanted a Psychic type. I wanted to keep, my ground immunities, and I mean, Galarian Articuno just fit the bill. Moving on, we have the Spinny Man himself, the GOAT of the spin. Like, he might be the spinner. Like, he's a literal top, right? Like, Hitmontop, my boy. I love him so much to death. He's just so awesome. And, like, he's surprisingly bulky with his stat line. Mind you, he has horrible health values. But, like, the special defense and normal defense are nothing to scoff at. 95, 110 special defense. That's nice. That's nice. And with a base stat of 95 for attack, having that Technician boost for 60 or less power moves turning into 90 base power, that's going to be scary. And with a 60 base power Mach Punch or Bullet Punch, Technician boosted, that's going to cook. That's going to deal some damage. And you might think, oh, well, he's not very fast. And sure, that's true. But, one, he has Rapid Spin. So if I'm throwing him in to get the purpose of me throwing him in because I want to make sure I'm not threatened by, terrain, hazard. Which is the main reason I grabbed him. Him on top, gave me this rapid spin, gives me some hazard removal, which I needed hazard removal on my team. I can't be just getting hit by rocks all the time with all my birds. But with him, I could cook. If I wanted to, bring a choice band. All of a sudden, that technician boosted Mach Punch, that's going to deal some damage. And if I want to bring him more of the defensive side, well, he has Intimidate. So his defense stat, which is less than his special defense, all of a sudden doesn't matter that much. Because they just lost an attack. They just lost like a quarter of their attack. So that's nice. I'm really liking him on top. I think he's slept on. He's in the PU tier. And I get it, right? Like 50 base set health. Like he, realistically, not very good in high tier. But we're not in high tier. We're in a mid tier. Mid, low, a little bit of high tier. Like, I think I can cook with this guy. Like, I really like him on top. I've always liked him ever since I first saw him. I think he's funny. I mean, just look at him. And I want to cook with him. So that's what I'm going to do. But going next with someone who I know is going to cook. He's going to pull his weight for certain. And that is my boy, Duraludon. I mean, before anything, you just look at that type chart. That is beautiful. 1 immunity, only 2 weaknesses. But add that onto the 9 resistances, and yeah. That's nice. That's looking nice. And then you gotta remember that he is also not fully evolved. Which means that your boy's gonna be bringing him with an Eviolite. And man, oh man, a base what? 500 defense? That's wild. That's wild. Throw body press on that, and that hurts. That's a lot. Give him iron defense. I think he has that. And boom, all of a sudden, that's even more threatening. But, like, Duraludon, just a defensive tank. Like, he is going to not care about anything that the opponents do to me. And I vibe with that. That's what I want him for. Great types. All the lovely things. And I really thought I wasn't going to get him. I thought he was going to be way higher up on people's chopping block. Because I just think he's a really good mon. But no, I was able to get him as like a 5th round pick. And I did snipe him from Coach Arc. Once again, getting a call out for the 3rd time in this video. 3rd time's a charm. I stole it right before he got it because he went next from my draft. So I felt a little bad about it, but I don't regret it because I wanted him, and he should have chosen him sooner, So that's how it is. Moving on to my favorite evolution, being Umbreon. I mean, just look at him. He's so sick. He's so cool. Like, I love this guy. I was looking for a dark type, just for the typing, just to make sure I was immune to prankster things. And I appreciate that he's a dark type that does not have prankster, because I can set him up with some light clay, and I don't have to fear of failing, while also having any of his setup mons that have prankster be scared that their moves will fail, because I'm a dark type. So if they have prankster, it's all of a sudden immune. So due to that, having him as a screen setter, and just like, look at that stat line also. No attack anywhere to be found there. But that defense, I'm pretty sure this guy gets recover. Like, light screen, reflect, all of a sudden, he's not taking any damage. And any damage he does, he can just recover. Give him a light clay, helps out the entire team. Yeah, I'm really liking how Umbreon's looking on my team. And just like, look at those circles. Like, yeah, he's gonna put in work. And speaking of putting in work, we have our first Terra captain, and that stat line is not very fun to look at. It's like, wow, he looks really bad. And then you look at his type defenses, and you're like, oh wow, he has 3 immunities, is only weak to 1 thing, and also has a resistance. And you're like, well, that's pretty nice. And he also gets prankster, which is the main reason I picked him up. And as a Terra captain as well, I can do some pretty funny shenanigans, I believe. I'm thinking he's going to be able to cook. If I don't want to bring Umbreon, I can have him as my screens. And overall, I was looking at the tier 5s, and I couldn't really see too much that I liked within it as Terra captains. But Sableye just caught my eye. I really like Sableye, and sure, I'm doubling up on the Dark. Sure, I'm doubling up on the screen setters. But I think he can cook. If given the right circumstances, I'm thinking he can put in the work. And I'm going to be looking forward to when he does. But last, and definitely not least, we have our other Terra captain, Pyroar. And Pyroar is a bit of an interesting Pokemon to me. Because I think Pyroar has a lot of potential to be super good. But, like, is just lacking something. And that something is a good ability. Because every time I look at his abilities, I get reminded how bad they are. I mean, like, Unnerve is fine. But Moxie's typically banned in drafts. And Rivalry is such a 50-50 toss-up. Like, I don't want to use it. Because, sure, I get, like, a choice band for free. Or choice specs, in his case, for free. If they are the opposite gender. But most people just click a random gender in the first place. And then second of all, if they are the same gender, I lose a third of my attack. And it's like, that's just not worth. Like, it's way too hard to, one, predict it. And two, it's just like a bad ability. Like, I'm sorry to it's just not worth half of the mons in the game don't even have a gender, it feels like. So it's like the ability only works sometimes, and then when it does, you're probably getting screwed over anyways. So it's like, nah, I'm good. I don't win 50-50s. I've always lost 50-50s. So having Rivalry be like the 50-50 matchup move, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. But with the base stat total, not too bad. Really glass cannony to a degree, but he's super fast. Not super fast. He's pretty fast, and he has some good special attack. And with the ability to Terra, I'm thinking he can cook, because he's got Hyper Voice, and I love Hyper Voice. I love the item Throat Spray. I think it's so much fun, and I could just Terra normal, Hyper Voice. That's some good damage, but give him with Terra Flying, give me another Ground immunity. Can come out of left field if they're not expecting it. Give them Terra Ghost, even. You know, get that out of left field, because all of a sudden they try to use a fighting move, doesn't hit. Just a lot of things that can go right with him, and with a move like Terra Blast, and he has a pretty solid move pool. I'm thinking he can cook. Once again, it's a bit more like Sableye, where it's like it has to be better conditions, like it has to be like specific, right? But I think overall, I think he can put in the work, and I will be awaiting greatly for him to have better results in this league than he's been having in the other league that my coach hosts, because he has done actually nothing in the other league. So I'm hoping he might do something in this league. But with that, we have covered all 11 of our beautiful Pokemon, and now we're getting ready for the big event. And that big event being the first game of the season, baby. And that's right, it's starting in let me check my phone. Let me check. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's starting in less than 16 hours as of recording this. So grab onto your seats, because this is going to be a big one against my boy X-Apotheosis. It's going to be hype. I'm having a lot of fun just cooking up ideas for his team. He's scary, but I'm thinking I'm going to be able to beat him. Not comfortably. It's going to be a close game, but I'm confident. I'm confident that I'm going to be able to do something. But we're going to have to see. I have a lot of respect for Apotheosis, and I know he's really good at Pokemon. So it's going to be a close game for certain. And I'm still fairly new, so I'm shivering in my timbers over here. I'm trying to like talk big, you know, like hype myself up for it, but man, it's gonna be tough. Like, I can't wait for him to read me like a picture book, man. It's gonna be bad. But make sure to show up. We will be going live I'll probably be streaming on Twitch at Vrburai on twitch.tv/Vrburai. For that, I'll link it in the description so that you guys can watch. But, make sure to set an alarm for 8 o'clock. Make sure to be there or be square. But with that, we will be heading out. It was me, Vrburai, with my second video ever. Go watch my first video. Is a video of Lethal Company. It's funny. It makes me go haha every time I think about it. But leave a like, leave a comment as you do, and then don't forget to click subscribe. I'm gonna actually be trying to make content on these Pokemon leagues here, so it will be fun to see how that goes. But with that, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful morning for me. But it should be a wonderful night or evening. I don't know. Cut the cameras.